Y'all, cooking does not have to be complicated. Today, I'm going to share with you a simple recipe. It's a chicken and rice recipe that y'all, you are just absolutely going to love. And when it's all done and your friends taste it, they're going to say, this was a complicated recipe. Nope, it's not. It's simple and it's fantastic. Hi, I'm Melissa Diane. So let's get to it. First of all, your chicken. We're going to be starting with 5 chicken thighs. So I am using chicken thighs today. And for this recipe, you want to go ahead and leave the skin on. A lot of times I'll take the skin off, but for this one, you're gonna want that outside of these chicken thighs to be nice and crispy, and the inside is gonna be, it's gonna be so nice and so moist. But let me show you really quick what you're gonna do with this. So when you take these chicken thighs, what we're gonna do is you're gonna want to cut off of them. I cut off the extra skin. Some people don't, but I do. I just don't like to have that extra skin on there. So I just go around each thigh. Now there's a little extra skin here, but it's a big flap, and I want to leave that on so that it'll be nice, and it'll be really pretty also when it's in the skillet. But this one right here, it's like when you have too much extra skin and it's just hanging off in little pieces, that's when I'll go ahead and I'll just trim it so there's not so much loose skin on those. So I'll go through each of these and I will get those all trimmed up. Then after that, we're going to get into our seasoning. For your seasoning for this dish, it's going to be simple. We're just going to be putting some olive oil all over both sides of these. I'm going to start on the bottom side. And a while ago when I went and I was trimming some of the skin on some of these, there are a couple of them that I don't have to do anything to. It's just that I like to trim it off when there's long pieces, you know, hanging on them. Okay, so we're just going to put some olive oil on here. And y'all, this little gadget is the coolest thing. If you don't have one of these, it just, I'll put a link for you for this. I found this on Amazon, and it's just wonderful for your olive oil. And then we're going to put that on both sides. And I'm going to start with just a little salt. So I am going to put salt here. I'm going to do this side first, put a little bit of salt on here. Not going to use too much. But y'all, when I first started cooking, I was afraid a few years back. I was a late starter when it came to cooking. But when I started cooking, I was afraid to use salt too much. And what I've learned is you do need to use some. It just really, really helps with that flavor. It helps bring the flavor out. Now what I'm going to do is put some coarse ground black pepper, okay, all over. And this is just some simple seasoning, but y'all, that's all you need for this recipe. Okay, and once you get everything else all together, it's going to be fantastic. Now, this is what I think makes the difference when it comes to this recipe, is this chicken seasoning. And this is from a company called Salt Lick, S-A-L-T Lick, Salt Lick. And I found this at our local H-E-B grocery store, and I just absolutely love this. And for everything I'm using, I will leave you some links so you can find them easy. And just about everything usually that I use, even if I get it at my grocery store, a lot of times I can find it on Amazon. So I'll leave those for you. Okay, so we got that all done. Now we're going to flip it over. And I like to, when I flip it over, I like to leave the final side right here, kind of where the skin is up, so I can get the skin seasoned really good. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, put a little bit more oil on. Okay, there we go. And then I'm going to put a little bit of salt on top here. Okay, got your salt. Like I said, don't be afraid to use your salt unless for some medical reason you can't be using it. But otherwise, use some of that salt and get your food nice and seasoned. Okay, you got your coarse ground black pepper, and now we got some more of this chicken seasoning. That is just to die for. I use it on just about anything that I'm making and cooking that involves chicken. Okay, so that's it, y'all. Look at that. That is simple, and you can do it so fast, and you'll even do it faster because you won't be talking when you do it. Okay, so there we go. It's nice and done, and I'm going to set it aside. I think I'm going to take our chicken, I'm going to put it back here because we're going to be over on the stovetop in just a few minutes. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you the other items that you want to go ahead and just have prepped before you start putting together your dish, because you're going to put all this together in one dish and then we're going to put it in the oven. So it's really simple to put together, and it's also really simple for cleanup. So first of all, the other things you're going to want is you want to take one onion. It can be a yellow onion, it can be a white onion, whatever you've got, and you want to chop that up. So we've got one chopped onion. Then you're going to want to have, what do I have here? 1.5 cups of white rice. And then you're going to use some chicken broth. You can also use water. I like to use chicken broth most of the time in this recipe. And I have right here, this is 2.5 cups. Sometimes I need 3 cups. It just depends on how much room I have in the skillet. So pour you up about 2.5 cups of either water or some chicken broth, but then have a little bit extra in reserve in case you do have room for it, because you want to have enough liquid there to really for that rice to absorb, so it's not too, your rice is not crunchy. Then for seasonings, you're going to go ahead and use a little more pepper back on the stovetop. And then you do want to have some butter, about half a stick of butter ought to do. And then some garlic. And now what I did, this was fresh garlic. If you don't have fresh garlic, you can use garlic powder. But I took this garlic this time and I just chopped it up. Sometimes when I get my garlic, I usually get it like this in the grocery store, in the refrigerator section. But a lot of times I'll use my garlic press and press that out and then get rid of the skin. Sometimes I will chop up the garlic. And you know, I really don't know sometimes which is better. And so if you have any suggestions on when it's best to use the sliced up garlic or chopped garlic versus the garlic you put in your press, let me know, because that's something I need to look up and learn a little more about also. But today this was about, I think this was about 6 cloves of garlic. And we like a lot of garlic. Jay likes a lot of garlic when I'm cooking, so this might be a little more than you like, but you want to have at least 2 or 3 cloves of garlic. And then right here, I just took some parsley and I just chopped up some parsley. You're going to use this at the end of the recipe. And let me show you something. This is a new little tip. So I got these the other day, actually a couple months ago, and these are herb shears. And it has a neat little cover that it comes with. And I didn't know if I would really use these or not. And what's different about them, it's hard for you to see. I'll kind of hold it up like this. I don't know if you can or not. But these have 1, 2, 3, there's 5 blades on these. There's 5 blades actually. And so what I did a while ago was, instead of having to chop up that parsley, I just took this, and I'm sure there's other ways to use it, but I just took my bunch of parsley after I had washed it really good, rinsed it off, and then I dried it. And I just took these little guys and I just went to town, and within about 20 seconds I had all this. And that was just a lot easier than having to chop it up. So I just think these things are the neatest ever. And then you get this, the little cover has these spikes on the end. And I wasn't sure what those were for, and I looked it up on Google, and that's what you use to help clean any of the parsley that's left in between there. So that's your little tip for the day. All right, so now let's take all of these items, and I'll meet you back over here on the cooktop. Okay, so now we're ready to get started, and what I've done, I just put a little bit of some extra virgin olive oil in here in my skillet. And I'm actually using today, I'm using a cast iron skillet that I have because I just like the size of it. And I'm also going to be putting this in the oven after I get it all put together. You do not have to use a cast iron skillet for this. If you have one, it's great. But if not, you can use any of your other skillets. Just make sure that the skillet that you use, that it can go into the oven. The oven will be heated to about 350. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put my chicken in. And so here we go. I'm actually, let's see. I'm going to put it in. We've got 5 of these, and we're not going to cook these all the way. We're just going to, what we're trying to do is we're just browning them, okay? And they'll do the majority of their cooking over in the oven. So all we're doing is we're just browning these right now. And you're just gonna absolutely love this once we get this finished. Now we have it sitting here, and we're gonna let this sit for about 2 minutes. I'm gonna let it go for about 2 minutes, and then I will flip them, maybe 3. The hardest part is to not touch them. You're gonna want to go around and constantly, like I was doing, touching them, but you can't. You need to let them sit there. They're gonna be fine. Don't flip them. Okay, so now let's go ahead. We're just gonna flip them and see how we're doing. Okay, it's starting to get a little brown. We're gonna have to flip them back over again, but let's just go ahead. This will be their first flip. And we'll let these go for about 3 minutes, and then we're gonna flip them back over. We've been going for about 3 minutes, and I did take a little peek on the other side, and they're getting brown. We need them browner though, so we're gonna go for a couple more minutes. Okay, let's turn them on over. There, perfect. I want to turn this down just a little bit so you can hear me better. There we go. Perfect, perfect. And this is what you're looking for. You want this so that if you looky here, this one is just absolutely perfect. You want that skin to be browned like that because it's going to be nice and crispy. Now we're going to let this sit on this side for about another, let me see, about another 2 minutes, and then we're going to take these out. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and we're going to take these out, and we're going to set these aside. Oh, y'all, these did so good. Yay. Now what you want to do is we're going to take our butter. And so your butter, you're just going to take, it's about half a stick or a mini stick. I like to buy these sticks instead of the long ones. I like to buy these half ones. And we're going to take that and put that in there. And again, we just have this kind of on a low medium. And we're just going to mix this all together. You leave everything that was in there, all those drippings and everything from your chicken thighs. You leave all of that in the pan. You can scrape a little bit of it off the bottom there with your wooden spoon if you want. But you leave it all in there because this is going to be creating the mixture, our rice mixture, y'all. And again, this is very simple. Okay, so we're doing good. Now, as that's melted, what I want to do now is go ahead and put our garlic in. Let this go for about a minute, about 1 or 2 minutes. Okay, now I have put in our onions. And it's going to look like a lot of onions, but it's really not because these are going to cook down. It's going to absorb a lot of that butter and garlic sauce, and they're just going to cook down. This is going to be so flavorful. I am going to go ahead and put a little more pepper across the top here. I'm just going to stir that up a little bit, and we're going to let it sit. Okay, now we're just about ready, I believe, to put in our rice. And the way I know I'm ready is I let that sit there for about 3 more minutes, and then when I start stirring this, y'all, it's starting to get, the onions are kind of mushy. You know, they're getting nice and they're soft. And so now there's one piece here. I want to get that piece out. Hang on, let me get that out. Okay. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to pour in the rice. And when you do this, you're going to think this is kind of strange if you haven't done this before, because you're just dumping a cup and a half of rice in there. I'm going to go ahead and mix this together. And I really like making this dish. I like the fact that it's all in one pan. A lot of times when I do rice dishes, I'll go put my rice like over in my Instapot or something like that, and that's okay, but then you have another pan, you know, that you're having to clean up, right? So this is nice. Okay, so this is all mixing together, and now what we're going to do is we're going to put in our broth or our water. Like I said, I'm using chicken broth, and we're going to pour this in. We're going to mix it up, and it's going to look like you've got a lot, because remember, you need for the rice to be able to absorb a lot of liquid, so you've got to give it a lot of liquid. And the reason I like to use the chicken broth is it just gives even that much more flavor. Okay. And as I'm doing this, if this is being helpful to you, pop that little like button, because what I'm learning with my channel is that helps YouTube know that you like the video, and it helps it spread. It helps it spread, more importantly, to other people. Okay, here we go. A little bit more. And if you click subscribe, then you'll know when all the new videos are coming out. And y'all, we've got so many really cool videos right now that I'm filming and getting edited. So I don't want you to miss any of them. All right, we're doing good. I'm gonna put a little bit more in. So that right there, y'all, that is 2.5 cups. And I remember last time I did this, that I stopped at that point. I put the chicken in, and then I did come back and do a little bit more. So let's do that. So here we go. This is now ready for us to put the chicken back in. So I hope as you're watching this, I hope that you can say to yourself, this is not hard. This is a simple recipe. All right, so we're gonna put that in, and you see why it was so important to get that skin brown, because that's what's gonna be showing. And it makes it just look so nice and pretty when you're all done. Okay, there we go. You do not want your chicken to be submerged, because then right here, this skin that you see that's nice and golden brown, this skin is going to be a little crispy. If you submerge this into your liquid, then it's not going to be crispy anymore. It's going to steam. It'll be just kind of soggy. All right, so there we are. That one's our big piece. Now what I am going to do is I'm going to give it just a little bit more broth. I think just a tiny bit more. There we go. And believe it or not, all of this will absorb while it's cooking. Now I'm going to turn this off, and I'm going to meet you over at the oven. Okay, so here we are now. We're in the oven. And I will tell you, I love using this cast iron skillet. The only downside is this little guy is extremely heavy. And so just make sure that you're aware of that if you decide to use one for this recipe. Also, let me show one more thing. You see how the chicken pieces, I've tried to place them so that they're not touching each other. If they do touch, it's okay. I have another skillet that I've used for this, and they're gonna cook. I just think they cook easier, or how do I say it? I think that they just cook a little more evenly, and you don't have any undone spots if you can fix it to where they're not touching. So we're gonna slide this on in, and it's on 350 up here, and we're gonna let this go. I like it to go for about, it's gonna go longer, but at 20 minutes, I do want to look at it. It's been now about almost 20 minutes. Let's take a peek. And when I go in here and I look, it looks a little darker on the video, but I'm gonna pull this out because I'm gonna check the texture of that rice. Okay, so here we are, and what I'm doing is I'm beeping. That's what I'm doing. We're just gonna check the texture right now of this rice. And it needs, I can tell just by the feel of it, we need to go just a little bit longer. We're gonna go about 5 more minutes. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to test a couple of things. I've already checked the rice, and the rice is good. So now what I'm going to do, I want to check for sure this chicken. Okay, so now I'm going to take my thermometer, and I'm going to put it in this one. This is the biggest one. There we go. And I'm trying to, there we go. And I'm trying to avoid the bone, but yet not go all the way through. So let's check this, and we're going to see. I need to get me one of those electric ones. And that's what I need to do this weekend. So let me see. I'll pull back here, and I will tell you that, oh, we are plenty high. We are plenty high. We are well over, on this thermometer, 180 is the poultry mark, and we're above that. So great, we're good. And the rice is tender, so we're good. Oh, wow, y'all, looky here. It is out of the oven, and I put some parsley on top. It is just gorgeous. So now let's give this a taste. Okay, y'all, so I took out some, and I'm gonna taste this really quick, and I have to tell you, the skin here on this chicken, I wish you could hear this, because when I scrape on here, y'all, it is so crispy, and it has turned out so pretty. And then the inside, this chicken turned out super moist, and the rice also is nice and moist. It's not crunchy. It just turned out perfect. So let me hush now and let me give this a quick taste. Okay. Y'all, this always turns out so good. It's a simple recipe, one pan recipe. Hope you try it and let me know what you think. And if you're looking for another recipe that is easy and turns out incredible, check out that next video that's popping up, and I'll see you over there in a few minutes. Bye-bye.